Hello everyone, my name is Marketa Hanchova and today we'll speak about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Mozart's life was very eventful, and that's why I decided to take you to the year 1781 and introduce you two pieces he wrote that year. The first piece is fun, and you may not even know how familiar you will be with the melody. It is 12 variations on a French song called Oh vous dirais-je maman. And the second piece I would like to speak about is his first very mature and beautiful opera called Idomeneo. I know not everybody loves opera, but let's give it a try. And let's start like this. If we wanted to listen to everything that Mozart had written, we would have to listen for over 250 hours. And if you wanted to have all the CDs with Mozart music, you would have to have ready a big shelf because it's 200 CDs. Yes, Mozart, in spite of his short life, was very prolific. But what is even more unique is that he tried every single genre there was in musical realm. So as we associate certain composers with certain genre, Mozart, we associate him with everything. He wrote almost 20 operas. He wrote 41 symphonies. He wrote 27 piano concertos and 18 piano sonatas. He wrote 36 violin sonatas and 5 violin concertos. He wrote 23 string quartets. He wrote incidental music, meaning music for special occasions, music for plays, and the list goes on. But what is truly valuable is that Mozart wrote every single piece with absolutely no compromise of his artistry. He approached every single composition with honesty of a musician with pride, and every single piece he left behind has originality of Mozart. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born on very cold Tuesday on January 27th, year 1756, in a city of Salzburg. His father, Leopold Mozart, was German, and he came to Salzburg to find a job, and he was violinist in a local orchestra. The orchestra was for the Archbishop Stratenbach that was ruling Salzburg, and of course had also court orchestra. Leopold was modest composer. He was violinist, as I mentioned, and he was excellent violin teacher who also wrote a wonderful book on violin performance. His mother, Anna Maria Pertl, was a local. She grew up outside of Salzburg, and it says when Leopold and Anna Maria Mozart walked down the street in Salzburg, every head turned because they were such an attractive and handsome couple. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was the seventh child of the couple. He had older sister by 4 years. She went by the name Nannerl, and they were the only child who survived childhood. And you know the story. Both of the Mozart children had unprecedented musical talent. Little Mozart, was performing for the first time publicly in Salzburg when he was 5. When he was 6, he is playing in freshly opened, just built, the beautiful Palace Schönbrunn in Vienna for Empress Maria Theresa. When he's 8, he's composing the very first symphony, which is premiered a couple months later. When he's 11, he's composing the very first opera. When he's 12, he's composing the very first Mass, Missa Brevis. When he's 14, he's conducting and directing his very first opera. And then when he's 17, he is finishing his symphony number 25. Unprecedented talent, unprecedented originality and musicality. Of course, the parents knew it. So when the kids were Mozart 7 and Nannerl was almost 11, the family decided they will go to show off the children to the world. They were quite lucky because Archbishop Stratenbach was proud of the family and he decided to grant Leopold leave of absence. And also the landlord, Mr. Hagenbauer, he was also proud that such a special family is renting one story in his house, and he promised them that he will keep their apartment, and also he gave them some money, loaned them some money, and we have very rich correspondence between the landlord and Leopold, and we know this way lots of details about the Grand European Tour. And yes, it was great success, and their fame was spreading as fast as it was possible. And everyone important in Europe, in aristocracy and in ruling personnel, was taken aback by the two beautiful, extremely talented children. But it wasn't just rich and famous that could enjoy the beauty of listening to them playing, but it was also ordinary people, because Leopold put posters in every city where they went, and he would invite people to local inns where the children could also perform for ordinary people. And actually, this thing may have caused the fact that Mozart was not hired by Archduke Ferdinand. Archduke Ferdinand was one of the sons of Maria Theresa, and he loved Mozart. Mozart also composed music for his wedding, and when he was ready to hire him, his mother remembered that the Mozart children were playing for ordinary people, and she talked him out of it. She said, you know what, his father was showing them like trained chimpanzee everywhere in pubs and in inns, and they are not good people. And Ferdinand did not hire him, and maybe if this situation was different, everything would be different with Mozart lives. But who knows? So let's get back to his life. When they came back from the European tours, they were embraced as celebrities in Salzburg, and life went in the very similar rhythm. Both Mozart would be playing in the Cork Orchestra, and off they would go very often to the world to show off the beauty of their musicality. And of course, Mozart was diligently composing. You know, the traveling. And by the way, if we combined all the days in his life that he was on the road, he would travel 17 full years out of his 35 years long life. And the traveling had a great and indelible impact on him, as you can imagine. Not just that he spoke several languages, not just that he was privy to different cultures, traditions, customs, cuisines, and everything that goes with it, but he may be the only person who had the chance to meet every single important person in musical realm of the time. And with that, he was influenced by every single musical trend there was in Europe, and I am sure that it enriched very much his composing. So, as I said, he would be playing in the orchestra, composing, and going off and coming back. When he was 16, he is promoted to be concertmaster and also organist, and it gave him lots of work. Meanwhile, Archbishop Stratenbach died, and there is new Archbishop Colorado, and he and Mozart did not see eye to eye, but that's for different segment. Mozart was not very happy in Salzburg. Salzburg was very provincial, and as I said, he didn't like his boss, so to speak, and he desperately wanted to go somewhere else. And we are approaching now the time of the 1781. But let's start with 1778, because something what happened that year would lead to the commission of the opera. 1778, Leopold stays at home, and Anna Maria and Mozart go off to Mannheim. Mozart would love to be hired to Mannheim Orchestra. That was the best and finest orchestra in Europe, and I will have special segment on it. Not only because one of the music director who helped to the fame of Mannheim Orchestra was Czech, Jan Václav Stamitz, but because it really was of exploring. Just very quickly, Mannheim Orchestra was the very first one that truly gave each piece of music soul. They were not just playing the notes as was custom, but they would rehearse it very diligently. They would think about a piece, they would analyze it, they would utilize something that orchestra did not up to that time, lots of dynamics, and the impression of the piece when Mannheim Orchestra played was quite different than any other orchestra. Unfortunately, Mozart was rejected. But the good thing was that he met someone who owned the orchestra, and that was Karl Theodor, Elector of Bavaria. He was sad that he didn't get the job, but he passionately fell in love with Aloisa Weber. She was from not rich family, rather impoverished family, but musical family, and she herself was soprano, and Mozart lost his head for her. He went off with the family to travel. Anna Maria went back to Salzburg, but then later she would meet him again, and off they would go together to France. And actually, Aloisa later changed her mind and she got married, and Mozart was rejected again. So let's go to Paris. There is something very sad what happened because Anna Maria got very ill, and in July of 1778 she died in Mozart's arms. As you can imagine, it was the saddest day for him because Anna Maria was true companion for Mozart. She was great mother to her children. She was great confidant. She had sense of humor, and they got along so well. He was fearing to tell his father, and he actually delayed the news couple days. And when he told him, he was subject of maybe a little bit of bullying because he did not want to return to Salzburg. He wanted to continue to find connection and trying to find job. But Leopold told him, you know, your mother died, and if you want also me to die, don't come back to Salzburg. So he came back to Salzburg, and he was so very much unhappy and felt that he's rejected left and right. But here comes the great news. And Karl Theodor, the one who was behind the Mannheim Orchestra, he is moving from Mannheim to Munich, and he's taking with him the orchestra, and he decided to commission Mozart for an opera. And that opera would be premiered in Carnival season in Munich in January of 1781. Mozart is so excited. The theme is chosen, and we don't know if he chose the theme or if the theme was given to him, but he absolutely loved it. And it was Idomeneo. The opera would be opera seria. We have two kinds of opera buffa, which is comic opera with ordinary people as characters and many times kind of silly. It's based upon Italian comedy dell'arte. And then we have opera seria, the serious opera that usually have many arias, up to 30 of them, with recitative in between, and it's very noble in its themes. It's usually from history or from mythology. And Idomeneo, being opera seria, is from history, and it takes place right after Trojan War. Mozart set on to work when he's in Salzburg. He's writing the recitative, but he said that he will write the aria not until he will meet the singers, so he knows of their talent and their capabilities, and he will write the arias exactly for the particular singers. The libretto was written by someone who lived in Salzburg and someone who happened to be good friend of Leopold, Giambattista Varesco. And Mozart is very particular about the libretto. We have many letters between Leopold and Varesco and Mozart, where Mozart is demanding to change every single detail so the opera is really organic. For example, in one of the letters he complains, this sentence has too many I's. Write there some words that have A so it sounds better. And Varesco went crazy with all the demands, but at the end it was great success. What Idomeneo is about? Idomeneo, as I said, is taking place right after the Trojan War, and I will try to be quick. Idomeneo is king of Crete, and Crete, along with Greece, Greek army defeated King Priam, which is king of Troya. So now we are after the Trojan War, and Idomeneo is coming back from the war. But prior him came to Crete all the war prisoners that he sent ahead of time. And in between among the prisoners is beautiful princess Ilia, who is Trojan princess. She is daughter of king of Troya, Priam. And in Crete is already son of Idomeneo, Idamante. What do you think that happened? Absolutely. They fell passionately in love, and yet they are children of two big enemies. And here is another character, Electra, and she is also passionately in love with Idamante. Electra is very bold woman. She always have to have her way, and she is devastated that Ilia and Idamante have relationship going on. Idomeneo is coming home and he's caught in a terrible storm. He's praying to gods, please save me, and I will sacrifice the first person who come to the shore if I will survive it. He survives, he is washed ashore, and who is the first person who come to the shore? Of course, Idamante. Idomeneo is shocked because he doesn't want to sacrifice his son. He pretends he doesn't know him. He goes all around him, and then he decides to send him off with Electra to accompany her back to Greece, because she's actually Greek princess and she was just waiting out the war in Crete. But the gods cannot be fooled like that. So here is terrible storm pounding onto the island of Crete, and sea monsters are coming left and right, and Idamante comes and he kills all the sea monsters, but the storm is not letting up because the gods are mad. Idomeneo has to tell the truth to the Cretan people who don't know what's going on, so he tells them what's going on, and Idamante says, I will sacrifice myself for the peace of Crete and for the protection of people on Crete. And Ilia comes and say, I will not allow you to die alone. If you have to die, I will die with you. All of a sudden, Neptune comes up and he's taken aback by the bravery and sacrifice of the people who are thinking more about others than themselves. And he says, Idomeneo, if you will pass your throne to your brave son and his beautiful and wise bride, I will forget about the curse. And this is how it happened, and it had quite a happy end. Now, Mozart have some novelties in this opera, and trust me that this opera, in its artistry, in its ambition, in its beauty, is as beautiful as more famous opera as is Marriage of Figaro or Don Giovanni. What Mozart does here is quite interesting. First of all, he was one of the first one that started writing overture as a trailer for the opera, meaning the overture is organic part of the opera. It has some melodies from the opera, it sets the mood, and it's really ease you in the story. Now, what is quite interesting that Mozart starts using themes that would go through the opera. And you may say, well, we thought it was Wagner who first started doing that, but actually it was done even before Mozart, but Mozart developed it more. We will hear the first theme in the overture, and it's quite at the very beginning, and it's a theme that musicologists really have different opinion if it's theme of the Idamante sacrifice or is it the theme of Idamante bravery, but the theme you will hear throughout the opera, and it's very, very bold, so it was quite revolutionary. Next thing, what Mozart does, and again it was done ever since Baroque, but he really sticks with it, that with certain mood you are linking certain mood to certain tonality. For example, if you are in love, you will write the aria in A major. If you are grieving, you will write it in G minor. If you are in love, but you know you cannot get the love and you are mad about it, sad about it, it would be C sharp minor, and the list goes on. So this is what Mozart does, and it really underpins the feelings of the characters. And finally, perhaps there is a moment where Mozart is referring to philosophy that he embraced, and that's enlightenment. Because in this opera, uh, Neptune is not saving the Crete for his reckoning, but he's saving it because he sees people people deeds that really impress him. And perhaps that's something that comes from the modern philosophy, enlightenment, that Mozart embraced so well. So, from this opera, you will hear Electra Aria, which will really impress you, I think. It's opera that starts madness, despair. Electra is mad and desperate, and it goes on and on with very dynamic and very beautiful, beautiful melody. And it is when she finds out she will not have Idamante. I chose two productions, one by Anna Netrebko, it has subtitles, and you will really enjoy it. And then I have Nicole Chevalier from Salzburg Festival from 2019, and it's very raw, it's very dramatic. I think you will enjoy it. Then I have Aria of Ilya, when she sings that she most likely will never see her homeland and she doesn't know if her love will be reciprocated, and it's a beautiful lyrical aria. And then I also added there the overture, if you would be interested. And now we'll go to the second piece that he wrote most likely in 1781, and it's the 12 variation on the French song. I told you at the beginning you will know the song really well, and you will, because it's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, the actual text did not appear until 1806. It's by Jane Taylor, and then alphabet text, it's on the same melody. But the song is really French. It first appeared as a pastoral orchestra instrumental song in 1740 and 1761. French text was added, and that's text where, "Mother, should I tell you my father wants me to be perfect boy, but I am a boy and I want to explore." So that's about a boy complaining to mother that the father is telling him, don't do this, don't do this. And Mozart maybe heard it when he was 6 or 7 and he was in Paris. Maybe he heard it from other kids. Maybe he heard it in the later travels, but he definitely loved the melody, and you will hear it 13 times. First time it's the melody, as you know, Twinkle Twinkle, and then for 12 times he does, we call it theme and variation, one of my favorite tools in classical music, because it's fun. It's like detective story. If you didn't know how many variations are there, you can try to count it, but you can still try to count it. And what is variation? Variation means you are still recognizing the melody, but harmony is different, key is different, rhythm is different, so it has certain twist to it. The piece I chose is played by my compatriot Natalia Shvamova, which I think that she's a wonderful pianist, so I hope you will enjoy it. And as I said at the very beginning, Mozart has been embellishing humanity for 250 years with his beautiful, happy melodies. So I hope that you learned perhaps something new, and I hope that you will enjoy these pieces I chose for you as much as I do, and I will be looking forward to seeing you at the next episode. And now enjoy the beautiful Mozart music.